So the start of digital technology is about understanding what your vision and your mission is going to be. There are certain rules in digital that pretty much are etched in stone. And one is to remember that technology is just a tool. For people who become obsessed with the technology, they miss the opportunity. You're about a business. And your IT people don't know this business. Your knowledge matters. Strategy is about your insight, advantage, and execution. Your details might change, but your process doesn't. And so how does your business model evolve? Here's what I mean by insight. When e-commerce came out, everybody said, well, it's just a channel about the internet. But no, as it turns out, e-commerce is about marketing, channel management, and sales operations, which comes down to CRM. People think analytics are all about AI in the cloud. But what AI analytics are actually about is, what do analytics give me? It allows me to diagnose things, to process it in a way, and also to spread it out to a lot of people. Networking. And for that matter, IoT. IoT is not about RFID tags, but it's about synchronization in your business model. And so, as you can see, what's going on here is that those who understand that digital is a tool, and it's a tool you can use that supports your business model, and it's an enabler. It allows you to go into areas that you haven't been able to go before because you're a better you. And here's some examples of business model transformation. Asia Paints. They sold paint and they sold coatings in 13 regions of India. What happened? They transformed. They now service 13 countries and sell their coatings in a lot of different applications. And what did they do? Well, they thought about, okay, we want to expand. How can we do this? But it's expensive to expand. And so they thought about, how can we do this cheaply? And not only that, but if we're going to be in all these countries, how are we going to coordinate this and everything like that? And so they built this up through digital technology. DBS is a bank, and they're a bank in Singapore. They transformed into India and mobile banking. How did they do it? Chatbots. They went into a new country, and chatbots are basically cheap. That's what this allows you to do. Because if you have to start building banks and things like that, that's pretty expensive to do in a foreign country. But now digital, being inexpensive, allows you to enter foreign markets. Newport News Shipbuilding, they build big iron, like things like aircraft carriers. And the way they transformed is they streamlined the way they do product development. There's so many pieces involved, it's hard to integrate it all. So what they did is they started using VR, and they started using better digital tools to do their design. What it starts with is your vision and mission. And how is it going to change with disruption? For example, BMW, their business is being an automaker. The disruption they're faced with is driverless technology. However, the way they have redefined themselves is they're an individual mobility company. They're not a car maker. And by focusing on individual mobility, all of a sudden now it opens up to whether it's driverless cars and actually networking their cars with a lot of other things outside. Kaiser Permanente, it's kind of funny, a friend of mine was an executive with Kaiser Permanente, and I just said to her, does Permanente mean how long I'm going to be sick? Anyway, they're one of the biggest HMOs in California, and so they're just looking as a healthcare provider. And now they're looking at this prospect of telemedicine and other new digital ways of doing medicine. And so is this going to take away from their business? No, because they now present themselves as being a patient-provider collaboration, meaning we're going to use all the best tools and we're going to work together on what your health issues are. So it's not, we're just like this standalone healthcare provider. We're your partner in your health. Philip Eindhoven is, it's really interesting because the European nations tend to have like one major company that tends to dominate them. And for the Netherlands, it's Philips. For Germany, it's Siemens. For Finland, it's Nokia. But anyway, so the thing is, Philips sold every technology. They had TVs. They had, oh, excuse me, they sold light bulbs. They were actually in the LED market. And then they realized we're on too many fronts. We can't focus on all of these. And so what is it that we're good at that we think is going to be a continuously growing marketing? And so what they did is they shuttered all their businesses that weren't related to healthcare. They sold off their LED business to China. They potentially got out of a lot of lucrative businesses, but they want their digital focus to be in one area. So if you remember from a much earlier lecture, I talked about that if you want to see the vision in things, you either have to go larger or go smaller. So what is the value of technology? Zippo. And why? Because unless you turn technology into good service, it's basically just a playground for nerds. And what we see is that digital is not about digital technology. It's about digital transformation. How can I use this technology to transform my business into being a better us? And so the things we need to consider is, do we need a change in course? Do we need a total, it's not about a total change in the company's mission or strategy. It's basically a clarification. You capitalize on the opportunity without capitalizing on the vision of the company. And that's what pivoting is about. There's a difference between total change and pivoting. And pivoting, yes, you're going after something new, but you haven't changed the values of what the company are. And so remember, your business always comes first. It's about what do you mean to your customer. So in the next video, we'll start talking about getting intelligence and background.